The South African Communist Party has come to the defence of South Africa's Army Chief General Rudzani Maphwanya. This comes after the government to distance itself from controversial comments made by Maphwanya during his recent visit to Iran. Maphwanya came under fire for suggesting that South Africa and Iran have common goals. He also criticised Israel for its actions in the ongoing war in Gaza. I'm now joined by SACP spokesperson Mbulelo Mandlana. Mbulelo, thanks for your time this afternoon. Now, the SACP has come out strongly in defence of General Rudzani Maphwanya's visit to Iran. Why does the party believe this visit was legitimate and necessary, despite criticism from government and many opposition parties?
Good afternoon to you, Hugo. We find it strange that government that sanctioned the travel of the general to Iran is now suddenly shocked about that travel. If that were not, if that permission were not granted, that travel would not have been possible. That's the first. So that is very unusual, very strange, and we find it completely problematic. Number two, the relationship of South African Defence Force with other Defence Force institutions across the world are a function of the South African policy, international policy, but also specific to questions of military support and military relations. So there is no government that can be shocked about the actions of a chief of military that acts on the basis of an existing policy. And that too is absolutely strange. Number three, the words that are accredited to the general that he has articulated in his visit to Iran are consistent with the South African policy on the question, particularly in Palestine, and the aggression that is being perpetuated by Israel. So the fact that government joins the choir of the DA, a DA that is opposed to the human rights question in Palestine, that the government sings along with the DA when they are criticizing the general for saying what is basically logical and common in terms of what we stand for as a South Africa. The combination of those things leads us to one conclusion, that both the military authority that is criticizing the general and the DA are bending over to allow themselves to be swayed by the opinion of the DA, an opinion of the DA that is built on slamming and criticizing the nation of Iran, but specifically supporting the nation of the Western nation of Israel. Thanks.
Well, a few issues come to mind. One of those is the timing. The timing potentially couldn't have been worse when you consider what's happening globally and all the geopolitical tensions that are currently taking place. Surely that would have been a key consideration. And the second question would be, does General Maphwanya speak on behalf of government, despite of government's policy? Is he mandated to speak on behalf of government?
Sure. I'm sure, Hugo, there could be some discussions technically about the internal military processes, about to what extent can an army officer express themselves on matters of national policy and so on and so forth. That discussion, we don't say must not take place, and whatever question may be asked of the general to do that. But what we are opposing unequivocally is the politicization of the matter, the factionalization of the matter, but also what appears to be a looming victimization of the general. That is really what we are opposing. On the question of the timing, the timing is really not up to the military of how these things must be managed. The military, when they do their work, they must be sanctioned through appropriate state authorities. If the state authorities have not considered the questions of timing, that is the matter that is on the state authority. This is not upon the individual of the general who is the chief of the army. To that extent, as the Communist Party, we think that a lot of people are looking for, at this instance, as a reason to perpetuate an anti-Iran sentiment, and that Iran must be seen now as a new enemy to swing at from a liberal standpoint. And as the South African Communist Party, we think that that would not be correct, because of course Iran in that area, in that Middle East, is important as a standalone strong force in the face of a very, very strong army of the USA, of course articulated through Israel, trying to victimize a lot of states in that area to expand the American interest in the region.
Is the SACP not concerned that strengthening ties with Iran could damage South Africa's critical trade and diplomatic relations with Western partners, especially the United States and EU? So it's not just about engagement for the military, but the implications are broad and far-reaching.
The implications of the genocide in Palestine are great. The implications of the unlimited violence that is being applied on the people of Palestine is great. The implications of the attempt to silence Iran for defending the interest of Palestine are great. So I don't know whose interests are not great when you say that there are great implications for the position. There is no wrong time for standing for what is right. And the South African government has took that stance. I don't know if the DA and other people who are commentators are suggesting that South Africa takes a step back and not participate in the process of advocating and advancing the agenda of defending the people of Palestine.
Well, I think the issue is more around General Rudzani Maphwanya himself taking it upon himself to make these utterances. Obviously, the position of the South African government is well documented.
Indeed. Like I said in the beginning, Hugo, we do not want to say that the government, the internal military processes to question the trip and so on technically and from its policy standpoint must not go ahead. We cannot dictate that. But what we are not going to allow as the Communist Party is for there to be a political witch hunt that the DA is advocating for, like all these calls that they are making. And we think that the general has not veered off South African policy. Whatever other actions are there, whatever corrective measures that the military considers necessary, must not go as far as to deny the correctness of the wording, the correctness of the calls, the correctness of the substance of the things that the general might have said.
My final question is, in your view, should military leaders have the freedom to express political solidarity, for example, on Palestine when representing South Africa abroad, or does that risk blurring professional military conduct?
We recognize the risk, of course. There cannot be an unlimited political right of speech for military officers. That principle we are not blind to it as a Communist Party. But anybody who knows the extent and the gravity of the situation in Palestine, who knows the extent and the gravity of the situation in the Middle East, will recognize that anyone who speaks, or rather who acts on behalf of South Africa, cannot pretend to be blind about those matters. And if they find themselves speaking out on those matters, it is in the context of the gravity of the situation.
That's where we leave that conversation. SACP spokesperson Mbulelo Mandlana, as the SACP comes out in defense of South Africa's Army Chief General Rudzani Maphwanya.